The goal with this video is to show you that you don't need to use YAML. You don't have to care about the underlying infrastructure. You can kind of just worry about your SDLC process, get your application deployed, and boom, that's it. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that even means. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is run Codiac. You could also just do COD, asset create. All right, I'm gonna pull this from Docker Hub. I'm gonna just type in NGINX. We use Bitnamis, that's totally fine. Call it NGINX. And then we'll do port 80 here. All right, we could also set up some ingress if we want to. So we'll go ahead and type Y. It's a web server, so obviously it makes sense. All right, we'll just do no for now. All right, and as you can see, we have our ingress configuration, type Y. All right, beautiful. So that's created. If I run Codiac asset help, we can see that there's a list command. So COD asset list. All right, and we can see NGINX right here. So now what we want to do is let's go ahead and go to the Codiac UI, and we'll bounce back and forth between the UI and the client, and we'll create a new environment. So I'll just call this dev1 because I already have a dev environment. I have one cluster within my environment or tenant currently. Click confirm. Okay, and then we can create a new cabinet. So a cabinet essentially stores your assets. You can see all the replica accounts there. You can see the history, etc. You kind of think about it like a namespace. It's not a namespace, but if we're thinking about Linux namespaces, very, very similar. So you could go ahead, you could create that via the UI, or we could even do it via the client. All right, Codiac cabinet create. All right, we'll give it a name. We'll say NGINX. We're going to put it in dev1, and that's it. So if we go back to the UI here, we should now see that is readily available. All right, now if we click it, notice here we have no assets available. We also don't see our NGINX asset here. So I'm gonna go back to the client and I'm gonna say Codiac asset deploy. Choose NGINX, choose the latest version. Notice here how under dev1 we see our cabinet NGINX. Go ahead and run that. All right, and that was deployed. We can see the information here. Head back to the UI, click that, maybe do a refresh here. All right, and we should now see NGINX here, okay? Now, one of the things that we could actually even do before this, because the pods are up and everything, we could go to asset configuration, NGINX, and then we can start to specify what we want our, you can call them parameters, you can call them key value pairs, what we want our environment to look like. So if I click the plus button under main is it's going to go to every environment unless you specify here, staging, prod, dev, unless you're overriding the values in that particular environment. So I'm going to click on footprint here. I'm going to go to resource type. I'm going to click on replicas and I'm going to change this to 4. All right, I'm going to click save here. Then I'm going to go back to the main configuration and notice this is still running, which is totally okay. Now, if I go to asset inventory, notice here we see NGINX now. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to copy that over. I'm going to click confirm to deploy. And now notice it changes to 4. Okay, why? Because I changed the replica count here. But if we changed it via environment, staging, prod, dev1, etc., it would be in fact different. So for example, if I go to dev1 here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to footprint, I'm going to go to resource type, replicas, and I'm just going to change this to 3. I'm going to click save, right? So now these environment configurations based on stage, dev, staging, prod, UAT, QA, etc., it's going to override the main configurations. So if I go back to main here, go to asset inventory, go to NGINX, do a redeployment. We can also redeploy via the CLI, of course. Notice how it then pops down to 3. And that's just a quick way in about 5 minutes or so to get your containerized application deployed, change the configurations, and get them in the right environment or stage.